The internal dispute over the judicial reform in Israel is also spreading outside the country this week, arriving here outside the United Nations headquarters where the General Assembly session is underway. Hello to all Israel News followers and readers. I'm correspondent Tal Heinrich in New York. There's another kind of protest that's happening right now just across the street with the yellow umbrellas and the Iranian flags. This is an anti-Iranian regime protest that's happening right after President Biden and the Ayatollahs of Tehran have completed their very controversial prisoner swap deal in Qatar that also includes the transfer of $6 billion from South Korea to Iran. So these people here are chanting against this policy of appeasement coming from Washington, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will do just the same as he speaks on the world stage at the UN headquarters on a Friday. Now, outside the United Nations, Netanyahu is expected to meet some Israeli expats, American liberal Jews, or leaders of the protest movement from Israel that came exactly for this purpose, to speak out against the judicial reform and against his right-wing government as they try to call on world leaders not to meet with Netanyahu. Netanyahu, right before his departure from Israel, said this, quote, "There have always been demonstrations in favor of Israel and against Israel, but this time we see demonstrations against Israel by people who are joining with the PLO, Iran, and others. Nothing is surprising anymore, but that will not prevent me from representing Israel brilliantly and in the best way for all its citizens." Now, as you can imagine, many of these Israeli protesters do not like the way Netanyahu compared them to the PLO and Iran, even though in their way they are indeed trying to sabotage his official visit, calling on world leaders not to meet with him. Nevertheless, Netanyahu is still scheduled to meet with many world leaders, including President Biden on Wednesday, the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, the President of South Korea, Erdogan of Turkey, Zelensky of Ukraine, and others. Iran is going to be at the center of his conversations. Reporting from New York, correspondent Tal Heinrich.